Bazoo. Hello. Welcome back to Elden Ring Nightreign. Last time, we defeated a thing for Executioner. We also beat Augur. After fighting them for the first time, actually. We got a cutscene, and Round Table Hold looks a bit different. We also have access to the final Nightlord. But first, we're going back to Wylder. We'd actually read all 5 of his pages, so we can just hop right into the Remembrance and continue on his quest. Here, I'd properly learned to check the map by now, but this looked a bit different. You're normally supposed to talk to an NPC. There were no NPCs. I thought it was maybe the visual codex, but it wasn't that. But here, I saw Reed. A short passage on the underground crypt. We lie the condemned of the first nightfall whose sin is too great for the absolution by our own deeds. Thus we shall ever guide the progeny until the night breaks. And now there's a second one over here, and I saw that a lot faster. A short passage on the passing of the night. Hark, warriors, fail the Lord, and thy sins absolve. Upon the breaking of the night the hold shall crumble, and thou too shalt be unbound. And the third one looked like it was in the same location, so I wasn't too sure on where that was supposed to be. But I saw a shiny over here, so went for that. A short passage on the Priestess of the Round Table. The Priestess, mouthpiece of the Formless Mother, rooted to the Round Table, she must share its fate. And Formless Master, that sounded like a one of the great ones, or whatever they're called in this game, or in Elden Ring. Now there it said heavy door, and I'd seen a heavy door before, and I was always excited to see what was behind this door, and now we would get to see it. And looking around, we saw the Iron Menial, so we talked to him.
The crypt is filled with the ancient people of these lands. I still remember looking after them long, long ago. As you know, mortality does not apply to those such as myself. These souls were laid to rest here in anticipation of the threat we now face, in a ritual required to draw the minds of their descendants here.
So, I was looking around here, saw this one. The ways of cutting point to the deep woods bestows branches to those. I read faster in my head, but the ways of cutting point to the Windwell Knoll bestow branches to those who wander and roam. And so looking at the rest of these, it didn't see any. But here, to atone for the first sin, we elect to become the foundation. And I figured that's all the ones that we see, so maybe I have to talk to the Iron Menial again?
Brave champion. There is something that you should know. The priestess was here long before the rest of you. Indeed, she is held captive by the Round Table itself. Brave champion, the priest, indeed, by the Round.
And he was repeating himself, so I decided to check this. And I saw a swap screen, so I did that, and I saw exclamation point by the shore. So, decided to go after that. And I was checking multiple times just to see exactly where they were, because I couldn't see Duchess anywhere. I figured she might be down here, and I saw her, so I went to go talk to her.
What is it? You can tell me.
Are you trapped here?
So, dear caretaker let the cat out the bag. It's true. I'm imprisoned by the Round Table Hold. Far from an architect of this scheme, I am merely another condemned. You may find it amusing, but it is the truth. Once we're done, it will be goodbye.
And that is Remembrance completed. No going into an expedition, which was a first, which kind of threw me off, but we got Wylder chalice from that. And chapter 6, the Wylder had the same dream time and time again. A long night persists, driving his clan's folk to madness. After a horrific battle, all that remains upon Windwell Knoll is a sea of gravestones. After the death of cousin Farhad, little Sheeran, and his own father, the clan's chieftain, the Wylder, discovers that only he remains, and now only he can avenge his clan. Only he can bring an end to the night. But even if he can, once we're done, it will be goodbye. Even if the night were extinguished, the twin horses will never gallop aside one another again. And we also have a chapter 7. Chapter 7. Holding his greatsword, the Wylder drifted off to sleep. Out of nowhere, he heard the rustle of cloth, then the clink of something being placed on the table. The Wylder awoke and slowly sat up. And that was the opening cutscene post-tutorial. And here, we get another remembrance. So this. The note attached to the key reads, "Take this, warrior. I apologize for mine intrusion." And I got a virtuous thief's key. Small key featuring fine ornamentation. And check this. I didn't see anything. And I went, okay, I can check this. And it says, next objective, find the chest that the key will fit. And I immediately started panicking because I wasn't really looking, but I'd never seen a chest before. And looking back at this now after the fact, I probably should have just hit swap screen as I had before, but I genuinely, at the time, one, didn't think of that, and two, like, I just thought that it was hidden, that I would have to find it, that there was no exclamation point. English is hard. I didn't think there was going to be any marker on the map pointing out where it was. I thought, well, this guy's sitting on a chest, but nope. Here I saw a triple green, and I thought, ooh, I can buy that. And I realized that there are way more gestures, and more prattling pates, and more of these. That's neat, but that's not what I'm here for. So, just kept looking around and thought, alright, there's no way it's outside. So, it might be downstairs. At the time, I said hello to Recluse, which would later go on to be something funny. At least to me. But I was looking around and I was getting really worried here because I had no idea where a chest could possibly be. And I checked, and thankfully I checked before hitting the top of the stairs. And there's a chest here. So, there we go. But torn out paper scrap. A scrap of paper detailing the new night. And running up top, we can now see an exclamation point. And this is why I thought it was funny. Because at the time, running past Recluse, I went, "Oh, hello, Recluse," and then realized that we had to talk to her. But about the Nightlord, about taking the Nightlord's power.
Does the idea of leaving the priestess behind trouble thee?
Here, I figured because the two of them are attached, story-wise, like their stories are intertwined,
What a
I thought to say
tender
yes.
soul thou art. In that case, I have knowledge I would relay. Seek thee a tear of silver, but the road will be one of hardship. All the same, I wish thee good fortune, for the fortitude required is a rare thing indeed.
Here, I saw that we could talk to the Iron Menial next.
How are you faring today, champion?
Ask about the whereabouts of a silver tear.
Well, I shall expound upon the matter. I've heard stories of the Eternal City. Some postulate that the tears are the essence of life itself. If that is what you seek, then you might wish to pay a visit to Noklateo, the Shrouded City, a place that was once part of a greater whole.
Noklateo, an eternal city. When I heard that, I got so excited. Because I love the eternal cities. I love their architecture. I don't love their enemies, but I love the architecture. And I love the visuals. And here I noticed, oh, these first four that we killed, the little images that they have like a claw mark through them, and that was neat. Now, at the time, there was a harder version of Dark Drift Night that you could access by beating them. And I thought, well, do I go with Dark Drift Night to get access to the harder version? Or do I go with the Beast? Because they're the next one in order, and I wanted to go in order. And I decided to go after Dark Drift Night. But I went, well, and there I was saying that it was nice that you could go to the collector signboard and like teleport directly there, because I thought that was nice. And here, as you can see, I purchased all of these. And I done that by beating Adele, like the harder version of Adele. I'd also bought these two. And I had purchased on this character the two final relics along with all of the urns. And on my other character, my coordinated character, I'd purchased everything. I mean, absolutely everything. So, yeah, I had quite a few kills on the harder version of Adele. Here, I decided to look at these while we waited, because normally matchmaking takes like maybe 5 seconds. And that's a maybe. Normally matchmaking is like 1 to 2 seconds. It is normally very, very quick. But here it was taking a while, and I just wanted to do something to pass the time. Because despite this part, along with the 2 parts before it, all being voiceovers instead of recorded at the time, like voice and gameplay recorded at the same time, despite these last 3 parts being voiceovers, I was getting back into the habit of doing actual, just like normal live recording, and that means not really editing, and so no like cutting anything out. And so I wanted to be doing something while waiting, because I wasn't used to cutting things out. And here I thought, well, if this is taking so long, and I already kind of wanted to do the beast in order to, you know, keep things in order, thought I'd go for that instead. Tried to, like, canceled the matchmaking and then started it again. And I noticed that there was a shifting earth, but it was grayed out. And so I decided to sleep, or like pass time at the bed to get rid of that. Because I thought, maybe that's it. And then we can try again. Because maybe that was creating an issue. And here I was looking and I went, well, I took out these 2. And I kind of want to keep going in order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark both of these, because I want to fight them for different reasons. I want to fight Dark Drift Knight because of the harder version, and I want to fight the Beast because they're the next one in order. So I want to fight them for different reasons, so I'm just going to mark both, and then whatever happens, happens. And matchmaking was 2 out of 3, but yeah, it was getting to the point where this was taking a while. So I looked at that and I was going to do a gesture, like one of the infinite gestures, like rest, but I realized I didn't have any. And I went, well, it's here, but how often am I going to be using rest? Probably not often, so I decided to just look at these instead, and I thought, that one is good. Not the top thing, but the second and third options. Same with these. Like, these first 3 are all really good, so I'll buy those. This one, Mind and Int, are good as well. Endurance and Dexterity are good as well. Along with Duration of Weak Point, that's also good. But I was just looking at these, thinking about what to get. And while I didn't get it at the time, the 5th option, which is the second yellow one, I'm also going to get that. I didn't get it at the time, but I'm going to get that. But here, these seemed okay, but not really great. But then as you get further down, they get less and less worth it. But I figured, okay, well, I spent enough time on this, waiting for these 2. So I'm just going to stop recording, and then I will start recording whenever I actually find the game. And I was thinking about which gesture to use, and I thought, bow is good enough. So I bowed, and I stopped recording, and like 15 seconds later, I got a match. But here, both allies were pinging, and I figured that's a good sign. Looking back, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there, in the bottom left, you could see this massive, like, castle section. And I actually did a short video on that before, where I'd run into the castle. And I now realize that that's not some random thing that pops up randomly, kind of like the shifting earth, but it's an entire area just for one Wylder Remembrance. It might also be used in later Remembrances, but I have only seen it twice, and both times it was because of a Wylder Remembrance. So it is a Wylder Remembrance castle, which, love the dedication, love the favoritism to the greatsword guy, because greatswords are the best weapon class, and Wylder is very cool. But I'm really hoping, like, that I've only seen it twice, and this is one of those 2 times. So I don't know for sure, but I am hoping that that castle becomes something that you unlock. Kind of like how you unlock the crater, and how you unlock Duchess and Revenant, and how you unlock the mountaintops. I hope that you unlock that area. And so, like, once you do this Remembrance, you'll get access to that as that, like, castle in the bottom left as an area that just spawns sometimes. Like I said, I'm not saying that that's a thing that happens. I'm saying I hope that happens, because the castle looks really cool. I love running through it, and it's got some cool bosses, like a Dragonkin soldier and Unnatural Born of the Void, along with a duplicate armament, which is so nice, especially if you have a really good, like, effect, like less likely to be targeted or more range damage, or if you have a weapon that's really good for 2 characters. Just great option. And so, yeah, I just really hope that you get access to that as an area that you get sometimes. There, I saw that the Executor dropped that, and I saw why he dropped that, because it gives more range to ranged weapons. But the Iron Eye had already jumped off and moved on, so I figured I can pick that up and then drop it to Iron Eye. Here I saw that pin and thought, don't really know if we have time for it, but I'd like to go for it if possible. And I'd also like to go for the castle, but I very much feel like the castle is day 2. And there I was just trying to figure out if we had time. Don't remember if I went for it or not, because I recorded this gameplay at like 2 p.m. Like 2 or 3 p.m. and I am recording this voiceover at 1:30 in the morning, so yeah, I also did a handful of games between the gameplay and the voice recording, so kind of forgot. Here decided to go with that and dropped it just in case he wanted it, because neither of those two options looked good for me. But I figured, okay, yeah, we're definitely not doing any of that day one. I didn't think at all for a moment that we were going to be doing Castle day one. I knew right off the bat that was going to be a day two thing. There I saw a Frenzy Flame and went, ooh, shack to the boss in the bottom left, and yep, it was the Beast. Because their thing has Frenzy on it. And I'm just now realizing that I didn't read the description of the boss. Well, that's fine. We can read it next time. Hopefully. Here, started getting hit with Frenzy, and a Flame of Frenzy appears in the top right. And you can see it on the map. And I thought, okay, well, my team isn't anywhere by me. Yeah, like, they were way over there. And at this point, I was a little annoyed because they fought a formidable boss. I decided to just drop that and pin it there. But I was a little annoyed because, like, they could have pinged. They could have placed a pin down saying, hey, there's a boss here that we're fighting. And they just didn't. And, like, I could have helped them with the boss. And they just decided to not do that. Here, I saw a broadsword, but decided, nah. Yeah, I saw a ping there and went, well, I don't think that's a good idea with the Flame of Frenzy. Unless we take out the Frenzy Tower first. Because there's a Flame of Frenzy or a Frenzy Tower in base Elden Ring as well. And it's got some, like, commoners in it. And if you kill all the commoners, the Flame of Frenzy goes away. There, I decided to check that on the map, and it was a long sword, was less likely to be targeted, so I picked it up. Partially because, as I've said before, greatsword supremacy, and when I rock a greatsword, I also tend to rock a straight sword as well. I tend to go longsword and claymore. With my character kept looking off to the left because my controller is broken for some reason. But here I decided to just run away because it did not seem worth it to me. But yeah, just I tend to use straight sword for, like, rats and dogs and foot soldiers, and then I use the great sword for, like, knights and big chunky enemies. And there this guy died a second time. And I thought, okay, he's probably going to leave. Because when people die like 2 to 3 times in quick succession, they tend to leave. And yeah, I was pretty sure that he was like spawning in the Flame of Frenzy section, meaning that it was really hard for him to get out once he went in, and it didn't seem very worth it to join him. There, just popped ult because I didn't want to deal with the knight in that section. And I could see there that the Iron Eye died a third time. Here, Great Sword seemed kind of nice, but I decided to go with a Great Sword instead. And we dropped down and started making our way towards that Flame of Frenzy. And I figured, well, if this guy goes for it, I'll go for it as well. And here there's a Draconic Tree Sentinel, but the Flame of Frenzy is just above that, so I went for it, jumped right up to it. Probably should have done that one-handed to do sweep attacks, but here I had to hide from the Flame of Frenzy, even if that meant being in the fire for a bit. And I was going to go try to revive him, but then he left. And so I called it. And I mean, yeah, this is a voiceover after the fact, so I knew it was going to happen, but I called it while playing the game as well, so I have nothing to verify that, but if you're willing to believe me, you're willing to believe me. If not, then you're not. It is what it is. But yeah, I thought he was going to leave after the second time. He stayed until the fourth death, but once he went down the fourth time, he just raged and left. Here, got a Sight of Grace to get my health and flask back just in time, thankfully. Then got a flask. And this guy died. He was just one bar, and he was directly in front of me. And I wasn't too deep into the range, so I figured it'd be pretty easy to pick him up. And here, I'm level 5. Here he died again. I thought, it's not worth it. So I just continued on. But yeah, I'm of the belief that you should end day 1 at level 7. Here, I was just looking at this again. And I need to sneeze. But I can't sneeze, so that well. But I figured we can hit the church, then the castle, day 2. Yeah, as I was saying before, I'm of the belief that you should end day 1 level 7. And we're level 5. He's probably even lower than that because he died. So yeah, that was not a good day 1 at all. That was a pretty bad day 1. I mean, you could say that was partially because of the Flame of Frenzy. You could say that was partially because someone left, but our team just also didn't have any direction. And so I knew that would have to change. Here we have Battlefield Commander. I was used to seeing Outland Commander. And there I could see Rod. And so Outland Commander has Frost, Battlefield Commander has Rot. And that was worrying to me. Because Rot does a lot more than Frost. And here the boss was almost entirely just ignoring me. But thankfully, I'm not there, but thankfully I'm generally pretty good at fighting these guys because Commander Nile from the base Elden Ring is one of my favorite bosses. And so I fight these guys a lot. Here, as soon as he died, I pinned that. And I saw improved dodging, so I went for that. And I just went straight for it. Now, he pinned this, and I thought, okay, well, we're already here, so why not? And the boss is here, so I'm gonna take this guy out before taking on the boss. And then he died. And I thought, oh my god. Like, one, you died already. Like, we didn't even get the pop-up for day 2, and you're already dead. And not only that, you didn't even go for the boss. You went to the wrong location. And I thought, okay. That was an impressive level of stupidity. And even though I am not a fan of taking charge, I'm not a fan of being the leader, you get to a certain point where someone makes such a stupid decision that you go, okay, your decision-making rights have been revoked. You don't get to make decisions anymore. I am the leader. I'm not listening to you. You're an idiot. This team is not a democracy. So, I decided to just ignore anything that he tries to do or say because that was impressively bad. So, once again, I was just showing, hit the church, hit the castle, maybe hit that formidable boss. But I figured probably not, because we probably won't have time for it. Or if we do it, we wouldn't have time for the other stuff in the castle. So while I would like to hit the formidable boss, the fact that the castle is in the bottom left and where we ended, or where we started day 1 was in the top left, they're just too far away from one another for us to actually fight the boss. I mean, if night 1 had started there, we would have been able to fight the boss, but we just don't have the time. Especially since the one person rage quit. We only have 2 people, which means that killing anything is going to take longer. And we're more likely to die because we have less people taking aggro. And so on and so forth. So we just need to go. And I decided to pin that, so that way I'd be able to see where we need to be. And I just had faith that this person could follow me. He was falling a little behind, so I decided right around here where he could get lost, I would place a pin just so they know where to go. And I had followed someone through here once before, placed a pin again because I figured they might get lost there, and we continued on. And again, this place just looks so nice, and it's got some really good rewards to it. And so I really hope that this becomes just like an area that you can randomly get sometimes in the map after doing this Remembrance, because it's such a good area. And I figured we probably have time to take on this boss, so the headless troll we fight. And I'm also hoping for like another major Elden Ring DLC or an Elden Ring 2. I was going for the head to see if we could get a critical hit on them, but we couldn't. At least it didn't look like it. Here I was checking just to see if we had time. Looks like we did. But yeah, in Nightreign, you need to worry about the time. You need to worry about the rain. You need to go fast. And so I'm hoping for either a second Elden Ring DLC or an Elden Ring 2, where we get something like this. I'm just a castle like this, where we don't have to worry about the rain, we don't have to worry about time, and have a castle like this just a bit more fleshed out, and where you can take your time to thoroughly explore, and where it's not based on a remembrance, but you can go there every run. Because I would love that. Because this area does look incredible. And it's fun to run through. I love the verticality of it. I love how dense it is. I love how there's a bunch of like higher up areas or railings that you can jump off of to get to lower sections. But so it's like you can go from the higher section to the lower section, but you can't really go from the lower section to the higher section. That's just nice. I like that a lot. Here, he died, got him back up, and he killed the enemy that took him out, and so is now just focusing entirely on the minstrel. And we brought him down. We got Search for Tier Silver. And we got it. Here we got a Wylder's Greatsword. I figured I can pick that up just because it's basically the same as my normal one, but ever so slightly better. And here I figured we can kill these two and then get the reward. So he died, and so I figured I'm just gonna ult him. Hopefully an enemy knight is by him. I think it fell down though, but we were able to get this, and I figured less likely to be targeted. I'll grab that and keep it. I don't know if those stack, but they probably do. Or at least I hope they do. And I saw a formidable boss pop up on the map, and I thought, why not? We're already here. Right? So, decided to fight them. And yeah, imagine a castle area like this in like an Elden Ring 2 that has enemies like Black Knives just as either normal enemies or as mini bosses sprinkled throughout the area. Not one, but like 3 to 5 that would be incredible. Here, I wasn't too sure on where to go, but I was just looking around, and I figured, well, we can hit this very quickly, and then we can move up here, and I think we just have to cross the bridge. So that's exactly what we did. And I knew there were two bosses here. One being a Dragonkin soldier and one being a natural born of the void. And I figured we probably don't have time to do natural born of the void, especially since there's just two of us. But the time I came here before, we got kind of close to killing them, but didn't manage to do it. And so, even though I don't think we can do it now, I would still like to at least try. And so, well, I knew it was a stupid decision, I went for it anyways. And here, I think there was a little bit of lag there at that one point. But for the most part, it worked out. Decided to ult because enemies and bosses take more damage when your stance broken, or like when you can critical hit them. So I figured them taking more damage plus a high damage attack could work good. Here, I knew you need to back up for that attack. And you don't go forward again until... Oh, not just a yawning at night. That's a strange one for me. But... here... he died, and I was just thinking, wow. This guy dies a lot. Like a lot. Here, I was trying to hit both the boss and him. Yeah, it did not work out. And here, I ended up getting hit twice trying to help him. A third time. And I figured, yeah, I have no flash, I'm 1 HP. I need to run. And so, just like the first time coming here, we had to run. And that was very unfortunate. And I should have just gone for the Dragonkin soldier. But I made the decision to go after the natural born of the void. Partially out of greed, mostly out of curiosity to see what we'd get out of it. But that was a mistake from a decision that I made. I'm fully willing to accept and admit that. But moving forward, that was nearly death. And that scared me. He didn't make it. And died. But also, that was totally understandable. I'm not blaming him on that one. There I saw Loretta and thought, ooh, I would love to fight Loretta, but no time. But I can fight these things. Just for some extra pocket change. Because why not? So... fought them, and I was pretty worried because it was just two of us, and I was level 9, and just like with day 1, there's a certain level that I think you should go into the nights at, and we weren't there. For night 2, I say it's level 11. And so, we're underleveled, we're down a person, and the one teammate I still have has been going down a lot. Like, he went down to a normal page, he went down to multiple normal basic enemies. And so I had no faith in this run at all. And it was against a Nightlord that I'd never fought before, so I knew for a fact that we weren't gonna win. Especially day 3. But I figured we can still push forward, because hopefully I can learn some things. And this I had never seen before. Because before each night, you get like a small group of enemies that kind of hint as to what boss you're going to be fighting. And I'd never seen this group of enemies before in the context of a pre-night boss. And yeah, here my less likely to be targeted was putting in work. But with them dead, we could see the boss. Godskin Noble. And I kinda like these guys actually. They're not my favorite, but I think they're kinda neat. I like them way more than the other version, the Godskin Apostle. These guys just feel more fluid to me. They feel more natural to fight. It feels like they have better hitboxes. And then I realized the game is having its fight Godskin duo. That's incredible. And I wasn't sure what the boss did there. I wasn't sure if that was a completely new move, or if it was lag, or what, but it looked weird. That move where they sprayed fire all over the place, that was definitely a new attack. But the way that they like spun into the air and moved weird, I wasn't sure about that. Here, he went down again, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to play this one careful. And still not entirely sure how I didn't get hit by that. Why I got hit by that one? And he went down again. And at this point I went, okay, this guy has gone down 3 times in this one fight alone. He went down to a normal page. And I mean, I revived him and then he went down again before doing any damage whatsoever. So I'm just gonna give up. Like, I'm just accepting death at this point. And I'm just gonna act like I'm gonna go revive him. Although that was smart. How the Godskin Noble saw us doing a jump attack and backed up. That, it was smart. I mean, obviously, it was probably an input reader, but still smart. But there, like I said, I had just accepted death because I had one teammate and boy howdy, they were not good. Now, I did make some mistakes there, and we did have a teammate leave, but the Executor, I feel like, is the main reason we lost that, because he was not good. But it's fine. I beat the third guy pretty much first try, third Nightlord. Beat the fourth Nightlord first try, so I was fine with this.
I see you have procured your prize. Excellent. I would do anything if it means we might save her. blame me for putting you in this position if you will, but I leave her fate in your hands.
Remembrance completed. But yeah, I beat the third Nightlord first try after trying them again. Beat the fourth Nightlord for first try. Got this Remembrance, so I was fine with that. Here we got Remembrance and Silver Tier. And here we got chapter 7 and 8. Or chapter 8 rather. And here you can read this. But did his young sister remember such customs? That's a good line, and I like that. But by the time I realized it was just page 8, I knew that I wouldn't be able to read fast enough to read this out loud. Maybe I would have. I probably would have, because I spent extra time on this deliberately, but oh well. But I noticed that I didn't have access to his next Remembrance just yet. But here, Art Gauge greatly filled when ability is activated. That's his Sixth Sense dodge. And then Ultimate Art Gauge +3 and Arcane +3. That's pretty good. And here, Remembrance, we get for free. And the only change that I could see is a little pin. I pulled out the mouse here just to show where the pin is. You can see there it is. There it's not. And so I decided I don't see any other changes, but I like the pin, so I'll throw that on. And I really like his default skin. I like Dawn as well, but I really like his default skin. But there's the pin, and yeah, I figured we could end it here. We did 2 different Remembrances for Wylder. And we didn't get to see them, but I had knocked out Sentient Pest and Augur back to back. And I figured knocking out 3 back to back to back would be a lot, so I'm fine with what we did. So I'm happy enough with that. We got a Silver Tier. So that's pretty good. We'll continue on, and yeah.